Hey everyone, welcome to episode 56 of AI GTM Talks. My name is Iyer. As you all know, we kicked off this talk series over a year ago. We bring on either AI GTM tech CEOs who go deep into specific areas within go to market. We bring on revenue leaders who are transforming their companies in the area of go to market. We also bring on practitioners, experts who really are able to explain different aspects of go to market, in very simple ways, simple terms for all of us to make sense of all the craziness going on around us. So today, excited to have Brandon Redlinger. Brandon, how are you?
I'm great, Manny. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
Absolutely wonderful, and it's so nice to that you said yes to coming and joining us on the series. I know you and I have known each other for a long time from back in
Yeah,
the Marketo days, so it's been
it's been a
a long
while. It's been a while
it's
for
been a
sure.
while. It's been a long association. We've seen each other
Yep.
in so many common circles. And then I'm going to put up the next slide, Brandon. Maybe you can kick it off by telling people a little bit about you, your background, who you're working with,
Yeah.
SMB, mid-market enterprise clients, and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, my name is Brandon. I am a fractional marketing leader right now, but I've spent my whole career in B2B tech. Actually, that's not entirely so. I actually started off as an SDR. This is way back in the
Mm.
day before they called it an SDR. Maybe that's why
Yeah.
I always get along with sales pretty well. But I started off as an SDR, carried a bag myself for about 2.5 years, and then made the move over to the marketing side of things. And this is kind of back when growth marketing and growth hacking was taken off. But moved out to the Bay Area, worked with John Miller for a bit. Hence the Marketo and Engagio connections and Demand
Mhm.
Base. So it was the Demand Base after Engagio was acquired by Demand Base. And then after that, had a few other stints at some B2B tech companies,
Yeah.
such as Revenue.io and Chili Piper. And then for the last year and a half, I've been doing the fractional thing and
Okay.
working mostly with earlier stage tech companies, again, all in
Mhm.
the B2B space, and helping them really scale their operations. So they found product market fit. They have maybe one or two, marketing people, but they really need that strategy and how to actually scale the strategy. So we'll be going over some of the things today that I've implemented at some of these companies.
Yeah.
And it really is leveraging, the whole GTM engineering movement along with layering in AI and AI operations. And I really think that's the future of go-to-market.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Brandon. So, yeah, what got me excited was I think we've told for the folks watching, listening, right? We said it's going to be pretty much a show and tell. I think you prepped and teed up a couple of really key use cases that are,
Yep.
so important for literally every company to have a handle on and really do a good job of in operationalizing them. So, why don't you tee it off? Maybe let's get into the first use case. It's going to be a lot
Absolutely.
of tear down, demo, show and tell. But over to you, Brandon. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So the first one here that I want to show you is here it's let me share my screen. Okay,
Yeah.
there it is. So here we are inside of Clay. High level, I'll walk you through what this workbook does, and then we can dive into each of these tables and walk you through how to set everything up. And at the very end, I'll actually leave you all with the actual template so you can import this into your own Clay instance and start using it. If you're not a user of Clay, you can, I'll also drop my referral link, but if you use my referral link, you'll get an extra few $1,000s of credits to play around with. But basically what this does is it takes a closed won opportunity or closed won deal, and
Mm-hmm.
then we're finding companies that look like this deal, and then we're doing some enrichment. Then we're going to find the key people that we want to go after, our ICP, our actual buyers, I should say, within those companies. And then we're going to package up, I call it a research dossier, but it's basically all the things that a rep would need to know to go after this account and start a conversation with these people. Now,
Yeah.
you could do a few other things with this as well, such as automatically kick off, AI personalized emails or send it to, your outreach or sales loft or whatever you're using. You could kick off some social sequences. You could put them into ad audiences and launch ads on LinkedIn, et cetera, et cetera. But this should give you just a good idea of this first part of the workflow. And then this really is more of an ABM use case, right? We're not going to actually automate everything. We want to put that research dossier together and then send it to the rep so that they can do whatever they need, that additional research, personalize their emails, et cetera. So any questions about that before we actually dive in, Manny?
No, this sounds good. I think you're right. I mean, I was talking to, as you know, I'm part of also this group called Pavilion. They have 10,000 plus, marketing and sales leaders part of that. And one of the folks that in fact was highlighting this as such a really simple, but, very critical use case that people should be deploying literally all the time, should be always on, so to speak. So I'm glad you're showing this.
Exactly. And the goal here is saving time for your reps. These are the things that your reps want to know about companies they should be going after. So rather than wasting our reps' time, we're going to deliver all this to them so that they can spend more time selling. I always go back to one of the lines from the book, Impossible to Inevitable, Jason Lemkin and Aaron Ross. They said, reps are like airplanes. They make money in the air. So let's get those reps in the air, right? So we'll dive into this real quick. So first, we're starting off is the URL of the closed won company. Now, in this case, I'm just inputting it manually here. But if you want to actually hook this up with any of your systems, for your Marketo, your HubSpot. I mean, it would most likely be HubSpot, right? And then as soon as there's a trigger, there's a change on the status of the company, then you can actually pull the URL right in here. But again, for this use case, for this example, I'm just adding it manually here. So you can just put it manually right here. And then what it does is finds companies that look like Carta. And why Carta? I don't know. They were just top of mind. I'm using them as an example. But what we're doing here is adding some constraints. So it's not just any company that looks like Carta. We want to make sure it's a company that's really within our sweet spot that looks like Carta. So we can say, looks like Carta, but is this size.
Okay.
And has these keywords. And is in these industries, so you can obviously add any of these industries, and is within this revenue range. So there's a lot of flexibility here that really, again, make sure it helps you target the companies that look like close one with a little bit more constraints around it. Because you could come back with hundreds of companies that do what Carter does, but it doesn't help you because they're too small, or they're in, EMEA, and you don't sell to EMEA or whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
So
no. I think most of it makes sense. I did wanted to see if you could clarify the keyword idea here. Where are the keywords being associated with? Is it with further refined industry, or is it more on the job title of certain people in that company, or what happens with the keywords you're entering over here?
Yeah, good question. So this is actually, I'm using the Ocean.io integration. So it's pulling from the description within Ocean.io and the keywords.
So it's from the company description. So is it matching the keyword against the description of the company?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, and there's a lot more that we can do here. Technologies that they're using, et cetera, et cetera. And again, remember, this is all using the Ocean.io integration. There's a few other integrations that do something similar, but I found Ocean.io integration is going to be the best here.
Got it. Let's keep going.
And then it found 4 companies for us for Carta. And then what I have to do is I've got to send those 4 companies to a new table.
Okay.
So this is the new table that I sent it to. This is the original company, and then this is the new company.
Yep.
And then you can see here that I'm pulling in a bunch of other information from the company, and there's a lot that you can pull in here too. So if you want to, see web traffic or where they're located, that sort of thing. You can pull that into your columns within Clay here. And I
Yeah.
don't want to clutter this table up too much. So these are the things that I care most about. Obviously, pull the things in that you care more about than others, but these are the standard things that we're going to pull in. And then what we need to do is actually find the people. So great, I've got the company. Now I want to find the people I need to reach out to at the company. Who are my actual buyers? And in this instance, in this example, I am pulling CROs, heads of sales, and VPs of sales. So obviously,
Okay.
whatever makes most sense for you and your company. And I'm excluding titles like assistant or staff or talent. So it will not find like chief of staff to the CRO or executive admin to the CRO, things like that. And then you can, of course, add anything else that makes sense for you. And then the last thing to point out here is, just for this example, I'm going to limit it to 10 rows at most, but one per company.
Okay.
And that's just so I don't burn through all my credits in the example. But if you're selling to, directors and you're selling to big enterprise companies, you might have 10 directors or more. Or if you're selling to individual reps themselves, you're obviously going to have a lot at larger companies. So this is a way to make sure you don't burn through all your credits, and kind of limiting that. So again, what I'm doing here, just give me one per company.
Got it. So you only are pulling one contact per company, but what do you have a recommendation? Typically, how many contacts you tend to source per company for a buying group, buying committee?
No, that's a good question. I think it's just kind of really more dependent on your own sales motion.
Okay.
And I mean, what you could do too is, if you're selling to, you have 4 key buyers in a deal, and one of them is the CRO, you can always start with the CRO, and then
Yeah.
later on, if you don't get contact with the CRO, then you're moving to VP of revenue operations or whatever that might be, right? So yeah, I would, the real recommendation is start off with one, try to go after that one, because with Clay, I mean, if you use Clay at all, credits are a thing, and you can burn through credits pretty quickly on automations like this, especially
Yeah.
larger ones. Like if we go back to, if we go back here and we look at the full workflow, this is going to take up 12 of your credits here. So if you get 100 people in there, you can burn through credits pretty quickly. Or if you get even more. So if you import a batch of 10 companies, and you find 10 additional companies, and then you're finding 10 additional titles at those 10 companies, you're easily at 10,000 credits.
Got it. Got it. Is there a rule of thumb in terms of cost per credit? How do you think about that?
No, it really is all over the place.
Okay.
And yeah, they have made you're looking at your credits, monitoring your credits a lot easier with a few different things. There's you always have your credit usage here, and you can go to your usage, and you can see your usage overall. You can see your usage by workbook, but they also have Sandbox now. So if you're building and you don't want to waste your credits just by testing things, you can have a sandbox and then only test this on 10 accounts before you actually fully implement everything. Sandbox is a great way to do that. So they've got the sandbox option.
Okay.
A great way to, and yeah, a great way to monitor your credits. And then also, if we're doing certain things like, okay, so like we pulled these people in from the companies we cared about, right? And then we're pulling in certain information about them into our columns here.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that we're going to start doing is do research on the people in the companies. So here I'm using Claygent, which is their AI agent, to go out there. And in this case, I'm finding top 3 competitors to that company. And then here we have flexibility on the models that we're using. And you'll always see this little symbol here, and this will tell you the credits that it uses. So
Hmm.
in certain cases, the more powerful models will use more credits, but also some of the older models, like here, no, who wants to be on 4.1 now that 5 plus is out right now, right? So
Yeah.
you can switch your model depending on the level of how advanced the research you need is, and
Hmm.
they have all the different models that you can choose from as well. So this is where knowing which lab out there is better at specific things, and then you can choose the model, and then you can again kind of look at how much at the bottom here one row is going to cost you in credits.
Got it. Is there a sorry? Is there a model that you tend to use more of for people research, company or account research? Is there one that you like, Brandon?
I still find myself using ChatGPT for the research side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been using Claude for more the writing. So everyone knows
Yeah.
Claude's better at writing, so you can write personalized snippets
Yeah.
with AI, and then put that into either your emails or this dossier that we're going to send to the reps.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, this is where kind of knowing the AI side of things and what the different models are better at. And honestly, gosh, it changes every week almost, right? Like Nano
Okay. Yeah.
Banana was the best at image generation, and then now ChatGPT recently this week, a few days ago, came out with the upgraded model of their image generation now. So now it seems to have leapfrogged again. So it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
interesting. But I love that Clay gives you that flexibility too, right? You can choose
Mm-hmm.
from all these different models.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what we're doing in this column. We're looking at top competitors, and
Yeah.
then here we're looking at um, I called it website highlights, but basically it's any news,
Yeah.
anything that your rep would want to know, recent key hires, new funding announcements, new product releases, that sort of thing. And this is all going to, you know, um, populate this column here. And
Yeah.
then,
And Brandon, just to get clarity on the motivation for why you added some of these data columns, it's because you're
mhm,
going to be using this information later on for the outbound messaging. Is that right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like
Or,
again,
or,
this
or handing or hand it to the rep. Basically, it's part of the dossier.
exactly. So
Okay.
yeah, when I give you this template and you import it in, and you're like, you know what, key hires doesn't really matter to my company, but this other thing does,
Yeah.
then I would go in here and I would change the prompt. So edit, just either delete this whole thing and write one on your own, and then use AI down here, their AI that's built into the um, into the prompt here. It helps you write better prompts. So you can start off with, again, very natural language, just typing in here, and then it'll write you the good prompt, and then you just want to make sure that you're pulling from specific fields over here. So all you have to do is say, over here, domain, and that's how I pulled in, look at this domain,
Mm.
that sort of thing. So yeah, whatever makes the most sense for you, whatever your reps are trying to find and do research the most, is what you're going to want to put in here. And that goes
Yeah.
same thing for a lot of these other columns here too. So does funding matter to you? If not, delete this column, because you're using credits to find funding amounts. And they used to have a native Crunchbase integration, but they don't anymore. We can get around that by doing web research and sending Claygent after trying to find the funding announcement. Then I'm pulling that in, I'm putting it here.
Hmm.
Um, and
So,
then
so that's an interesting point. You're saying Clay does not have native funding signals, event signals, as they
with it,
used to with Blackface. Yeah.
yeah, well, they used to have integration with Crunchbase. So all I had to do was, go over
Yeah.
here, add my Crunchbase. But now they
Hmm.
don't have Crunchbase anymore. See,
Got
I
it.
can get Crunchbase via the Clearbit integration, but I don't have a direct Crunchbase anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any others that you like for funding signals? Because again, just reminding folks listening, you know, part of the conversation we're having here is also about all the different kinds of signals, right? Person or contact level signals, company or account level signals, even sources of signals could be interesting as we keep going, Brandon, as you're describing this use case. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is the one that I always fall back to since I'm in B2B.
Yeah.
Some other ones that like if you're looking at, well, this isn't really funding directly, but if you're selling to, VCs and private equity, selling directly to them, you could pull in the PitchBook integration, and look at how much they have asset under management or things like that, or what type of are they growth equity, or are they buyout firms, that sort of thing.
Got
so
it.
yeah, PitchBook's another one that I've used too.
Got it. So for those, right, for those specific signals, you like Crunchbase and PitchBook, which is all around funding events.
Yep.
What about I know this is a little bit off topic, but maybe you might have a quick answer. What about role change signals? You were trying to get to the CMO, and the CMO, you want to know, has he or she changed jobs within the last 3 months or 6 months?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so they do have that functionality now. But also, I think there are some other tools out there that you might be able to plug in. I don't know, Manny, do you know any?
I think in all fairness, I think the user gems was one of the first that was really strong in role change. So I think they're a good one for role change. I like them. The whole signal space become a mess, right? So you're trying to make sense of, okay, what signals do I use for what, and who do I source it from, and you got to literally stitching it all together. So that's what we end up doing. Like we have, as you know, we have our own signal-based tech, but we have a few unique, really high-quality signals. But then when we go into customers, we have to put a whole framework together and kind of put it all together with using our tool and other tools.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Is if you're a Quanzu customer, you can set up a webhook, and setting up a webhook is pretty easy. Then what you would do. So actually, this is a perfect place to talk about it. Is you would set that up in a separate table within Clay, and then you use this function here, which is look up a record in another table. So if you have any of those other signals that you're bringing in from Quanzu, and you want to add it to this workbook here, it would be this look up single row in other table. That's what you would use to then bring that information over into this particular table here. So what I'm using this one for is I'm actually pulling in fields from this company table that we were previously on. So that's the function.
Let me give you 2-3 examples of how this could be interesting, right? I'm glad you brought that up. So for example, we have the person level de-anonymized buying signal, right? Intent on the company's own website. So that record might be sitting in another Clay table. But here you're doing the lookalike campaign, and the lookalike campaign, you pulled out 5 people that you're part of the buying committee of this company. And you can do this lookup on the other table to see, hey, has this person already showed up on our website? And did he or she go to a particular product page or solution page? You can kind of combine the two. So that, I think, is very powerful. That's something you can do right here. Yeah.
Exactly.
And another flavor of this would be offsite intent, right? As you know, we have individual contact level, person level, offsite intent on a topic of interest. Are they interested in that particular topic? And so you can kind of combine those two. I was curious about, you mentioned 3 competitors. Are you talking about the competitors of this company that you're about to go give the dossier to the rep? You're trying to tell him, hey, these are 3 competitors of your target prospect. Is that what that is?
Correct.
Okay. You're educating them on, hey, you're probably trying to compete with these 3 guys. We can help you, right? And then offer them a solution.
Yeah, exactly. So there are companies out there that like to do competitive campaigns. And if you are one of those companies, this one's a great one. But I also have a lot of reps that are like, that just want to know that sort of thing, because either maybe their competitor is a customer of ours and we can pull in a case study
Mm.
of their competitor and say, do you want results like this, or do you want to know how your competitors are getting these sorts of results?
Ah.
So yeah, that's always a good one. But I find that reps always want to know who are their top competitors. So if that's
Mm.
something that your reps want to know, great, keep that one in there.
Yeah. Brandon, related question. What do you typically like to do in terms of any one of these campaigns? Is there a number of accounts and a certain number of contacts you like to kind of pull together as a minimum to kind of get a campaign going? Like every and what's the campaign's cycle time? Is it 30 days, 45 days, 60 days? How long do you keep it going?
Well, good question. I mean, with all of my B2B, larger ABM clients that I'm building these things for, we want at least three contacts per account and three
Okay.
different key personas. Now, obviously, multi-threading, the more people you're reaching out to and in contact with, the better. And I want
Hmm.
to make sure now that this isn't something that Clay does, but me as the leader of the ABM motion, and to make sure it's successful and set our reps up, I want to see how many new contacts they're going after every single month. You can even
Hmm.
do it by week, right? So how
Yeah.
many new contacts has moved to working, and have they added to your CRM and started working in the last week, month, whatever makes the most sense for you. Because
Okay.
if the CRO isn't interested, there's still a good chance that you could get into that company, maybe a bottoms up or a middle up
Mm.
approach, instead of just always going top down, going after the CRO, the economic buyer, right? Maybe you want to go after the more technical buyer. So you're going to go after, like, in this case, I'm going after a head of enablement instead, or
Yeah.
RevOps.
Yeah. So, Brandon, I want to make sure maybe do a quick time check. We have about another
Yep.
15 odd minutes. So, I know you have this workflow you want to complete, and then you have another workflow to show around events.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, here's some other. I won't go through all the details here, but here's some other research that I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm pulling in, a key value. So this client that I built this for is called Avara. So
Yeah.
it's matching the Avara value proposition to this person. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to use information that I already pulled, write a very specific value proposition that's relevant to John here.
Oh, okay.
Um, Et cetera, et cetera. And then here's the and then again, here's the let me match the it's right here. Let me match any of our case studies that would be relevant for John to look at. And
Ah.
then I'm taking all this information. I'm using the Google Docs integration here, and I'm putting this dossier together in Google Docs. So you have to use markup language here, and you're so yeah. If you had, like, for example, like you know Quanzu signal here, then what you would do? Actually, you'd have to do it like, I would just do that. I would paste that there, and then it would
Got it.
be that, and then you would hit your backslash, and
Yeah.
then you would call in the row that you created, that you pulled from the other table. So backslash
Got it.
whatever from that row, tag it in, and then
Mm.
now you can have your any data that you want. And let me show you what this actually looks like.
Yeah.
Um, so
Oh,
not the
wow.
most beautiful thing ever, but this is all the information that your rep wants, right? So
Yeah.
this is a dossier for John Kelly, the CRO of Remote. Here's
Mm.
all the research that we just did. And if there's any other information that we want to pull in, again, all we have to
Mm.
do is come back to this row here. We add the markup language. We call in that row that we want to pull from, and boom, it's in their dossier. And then the last piece
Yeah.
is I integrated it with Slack so that I can send this directly to the rep in Slack. So what I can
Mm.
do, here's the bot name that shows up in Slack, and then here's the actual message that shows up in Slack. new research dossier for
Yeah.
person name, who is the title at this company, and then it links to the document. So all they have to do is look up in Slack, keep an eye on that channel, and then click on the document, and they're off and running.
Yeah. This is a lot of really good stuff, Brandon, and it's really nice of you to say you're going to offer or share a template on this. I'm just going to save people
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, no, I
ton
love
of
this sort
time.
of thing. I love building this out and sharing it with
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So okay, that's one. I know we're short on time. I'll go through this other one a little quicker.
No, we
Um,
have time. We have time. We have
okay,
another for 15 minutes. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
okay, cool. So okay, just started sharing. There it is. Okay, what this other one is an event play. So we go to these events, we get the big lead list back, and now we have to
Yeah.
actually do something with it. So
Mhm.
what we're doing high level is, okay, let's import. Usually it's just a CSV. So in this case, we're starting with a CSV. Again, if you want to start with, um, HubSpot, you can pull it from HubSpot or whatever. And then we're doing some analysis on it. And then for certain leads, we might not want to do automated outreach, which is the ultimate goal of this. We might actually want to say, hey, it's a customer, send it
Mhm.
to this rep. Hey, it's an active opportunity within APAC, let's send it
Yeah.
there. Uh, and if it doesn't meet any of that criteria, what it ends up doing is we're using the Octave integration to come up with the quote unquote personalized content. But we're using AI to write personalized emails, and then we're going to use the Clay native sequencer to actually send the emails themselves. But if you don't want to use the Clay native sequencer, which is just smart lead white labeled, you could push it to smart lead, or you could push it to HubSpot if you're using HubSpot sequences or outreach, et cetera, et cetera. So let's dive into this real quick. So what we're doing here, these three green columns are just the standard. I started off with very simple. These are the things that the company or the event organizer is going to give you. You have person name, you have their email, and you put in your lead source here. So in this case, these are our Dreamforce leads. They might give
Yeah.
you more, might not, but we're going to play it safe and say they don't give us much. So what we're doing is we have to enrich this person using just a standard waterfall enrichment that Clay is known
Yeah.
for.
Mhm.
And when I built this a few months ago, Josh was at Pavilion. Since then, he's left, but ignore that
Mm.
fact. It does actually work really well in terms of matching and data completeness and data accuracy. So Josh
Yeah.
isn't at Pavilion anymore, but pretend he is. Pretend we were talking.
Yeah, I know. I know. I think he's at one mind now, I think.
Yeah, he's at
Yeah.
one mind. Exactly. I love Josh. Josh,
Yeah.
smart dude. If you don't know Josh, you
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
definitely.
He's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, Josh is awesome. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're enriching the person, and then we're
Mhm.
enriching the company. So we have a
Mhm.
lot of information that we want to know about them. I'm cleaning the job title, so it's not, you'll see a lot of times people say Chief Revenue Officer parentheses CRO, or
Yeah.
like company name. It might be Pavilion Inc. or
Yeah.
Pavilion LLC or whatever. So we're just making sure that that's all cleaned up. And
Mhm.
then in this case, I want to know what tech they're on. So I'm using um, their waterfall here. So it first looks at built with, and then it finds it using tech stack, and then similar web, and then et cetera. But the good thing about this is, again, we have a lot of flexibility here, and we can go
Mm.
to the full configuration, and then we can say, you know what, similar web is better in my case, or you know what, similar web, that's 18 credits per row, let me turn that off,
Mm.
etc. So there's a lot of flexibility here. So if tech stack is something that you care about, keep that in, or if it's not, you can go ahead and just delete that waterfall.
Yeah. So, talking about tech stack again, Brandon, do you have any specific thoughts, recommendations on? Here are some of the ones that you've typically tested, used, you like, in terms of one, two, three. I mean, um,
Yeah, I do like built with. I mean, I've used
yeah.
built with, God, they've been around for a long time now, right?
Right. Right.
um
Right.
But built with is particularly good with companies in the B2B space that, you got
Yeah.
to put a tag on your website. But if
Yeah.
that's not relevant to you, if there's no tag to indicate they're using this, but, there's a different, maybe Predict Leads does it differently, and that Predict Leads does it better for
Yeah.
your industry, great, move them up to number one. But it
Right.
really is knowing your
The other
industry and
one,
then knowing the tech too.
right. The other ones I've heard of, obviously, people talk about Stumble because it crawls and it pulls from job listings or hiring, right? They pull what
Yeah,
technologies
yeah,
might be in use. People talk about HE Insights. They're again known for
yep.
technographics. So, but then I think HE, I don't think they have the full blown their data available in Clay. So, right, so there's some limitation on what you can get through Clay versus what you'll have to go do a direct contract or
Oh,
deal
there
with,
you go.
right?
So you got Stumble in here now too. So if I
Yeah,
wanted to add that, I could just add that.
yeah,
Um,
got it, got it.
so and then
So
there's my
each of these guys have their own strength, right? I mean, what they're good at and how they pull the data, and to your point, I think, yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Oh,
Okay.
it looks like I might need set wait, anyway. Okay, and then what else? What the other thing that we're doing here is it's actually just giving us the whole list of tech that
Yeah.
in this case Pavilion has. I'm writing a formula to say, look through all of the tech and tell me if they're on HubSpot or Salesforce. If they're on
Hmm.
either one, great. I want to know.
Hmm.
Spit that out right here. So it looks like they're on HubSpot and Salesforce. So is Clay, HubSpot and Salesforce. Um,
So,
and
so
then
now
what
you're
we
using this as a qualifier to say these are good prospects for us. If they have this other
exactly.
tech, then we should. Oh, got it. Yep, makes sense.
Yeah. I care if they're on HubSpot or Salesforce. If they're not on HubSpot or not on Salesforce, what we're doing over here is actually this is our lead scoring, and I
Got
actually
it.
just made it typed it out here to make it a little bit more um, digestible here. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is, if they're on Salesforce, I'm giving them a higher score. If they're on another HubSpot CRM, they get this. If they're on other, so
Oh,
take
is
this.
that a negative score if it's on some other CRMs? Okay.
Yes, this one's a negative. You're right.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Makes
Yep.
sense.
So negative score. So I don't care about anyone else. I just care about
Hmm.
HubSpot or Salesforce, right?
Okay.
Um, so actually, the one thing I skipped over here is sales territory. So I want to break this up, my leads up, because we sell by territory here. So I want to break it up into EMEA, APAC, North America, and other. And if you want to set it up similar, you can. If this isn't exactly your territory,
Hmm.
I'll send this around after too.
Yeah.
But you can take my template here, change it
Yeah.
so that it makes sense for you, and then you drop it into this prompt here, and then
Oh,
you
wow.
hit generate, and then it'll generate it for you.
Amazing. Amazing.
So yeah,
Okay.
trying to make it as easy as possible for people. And then again, same with lead score.
Yeah.
I obviously didn't write all this code. I don't know how to do that. I'm not that smart. All I did was I took this here,
Yeah.
and the blue things are the things that you're going to have to tag in um, from the other column in Clay. And then
Yeah.
I put it in here and I said, use AI. And then
Hmm.
it spit out this lead score. And then again, we'll go back to pulling in data from other tables. If
Yeah.
you're using Quanzu, you can say if they visited these pages on your website, or if they have these third-party intent, or if they've hired recently, et cetera, you can add that to
Yeah.
your score.
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
so that's
Yep.
another data point that you can pull into your lead score. Or if your lead scoring is in HubSpot, you can just pull the lead scoring from HubSpot, or the account score. And then here, what I'm doing is writing some conditional formatting saying, do I want to follow up with this lead automatically with my
Hmm.
AI generated email, or do I want to send this to a rep? So
Hmm.
what I'm basically doing here is saying, if the headcount is over 50 and sales territory is, oh, sorry. Okay. If the headcount is under 50,
Yeah.
or the sales territory is other,
Yeah.
then that means I want to automate this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what I'm doing here is sending it to the right table. So if it's
Mm.
above 50 and it's within my sales territory, I want to
Yeah.
send it to the rep who covers, this one's North America.
Yeah.
In this case, you'll see Bruno from
Yeah.
the previous table qualified
Mm.
for this. So he'll be in here. And then what we can do is, going back to the previous workbook that we built, we could send this to a rep in Slack and
Mm.
say, hey, Bruno was recently at this Dreamforce event that we did. Here's some research on Bruno. Now it's your job to now go after Bruno.
Yeah.
But there's probably going to be a lot of people that you just want to follow up with automatically. You don't want to waste your enterprise reps time on it.
Mm.
So what we'll do here is we will, all the way at the end here, I'm using the Octave integration to write
Yeah.
these 2 emails. So Octave does great personalization using AI, and I'm setting
Mm.
up the sequence. I'm saying this is a 2 email sequence. It's going to be short. It's an outbound email. The goal is to initiate a conversation. Let me give you an example of what good looks like in the first email. Let me give you an example of what I think good looks like in the second email. Some additional instructions. And this is just a copy and paste of, I'm sure everyone has seen the prompt from Sabrina Romanov that went viral that I keep seeing pop up all the time, but it's how do you make AI not sound like AI? How do you make AI writing sound a little bit more human? So I just copy and pasted that into the additional instructions.
Yeah.
And then a little bit more about the company. So again, my client Avara is what I built this sequence for. I need to
Yeah.
give you a little bit more about Avara. Avara's website, the product name, in this case, it's just Avara, our value proposition, key differentiators, outcomes that we deliver. And
Mm.
if you are, I mean, hopefully you have all this stuff for you, or go get it from your product marketer.
Mm.
Or if you don't, just use AI to write all this, right? Get
Mm.
to 80% good enough and then throw it in here. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Got it.
And these are the fields that you're pulling from. And then one other important thing to know is here's a run condition. And again,
Mm.
we only want to automate these emails for the people that we care about less. So I wrote, actually, we skipped over this real quick because I know we're short on time, but should this be automated for follow-up? Yes,
Mm.
because again, Pavilion is under 50 people.
Mm.
So since he's under 50 people, I should do follow-up on this.
Yeah.
Bruno did not meet the conditions, so he's not going to be automated. And then these columns here is the output of the Octave integration. So you can
Okay.
see,
Got it.
yeah. And then the last thing that I'm doing here, I know we have 2 minutes left, but it's putting them into the Clay native sequencing tool.
Mm.
And all I do here is I'm saying this is a 3 email cadence. Email 1, I pull in the subject line that Octave created. Email 2, I'm pulling in the body that Octave created. But then what I'm doing down here is I'm actually using AI within Clay to write this email. So the
Mm.
purple highlighted text here is the prompt that I'm giving it. And again,
Mm.
here I'm pulling in the column. So take
Mm.
only the first person's name, come up with something that's like something like this, and
Yeah.
then you get the idea, and then here you can
Yeah.
preview it. So here's
Oh,
the output.
nice.
Here's the actual email sequence that's going to be sent, and then you can launch that. And then here's your settings, analytics. You can look at your replies, and
Yeah.
if you wanted, you could even pull replies or bounces into another table and do something else with it. So as you can
Yeah.
see, the power within Clay is yeah, it's almost limitless. You just have to know how to essentially use Clay well.
Got it. So yeah, just as we wrap up, Brandon, you have these templates. I think you showed us a Google Doc. If you can,
Yes.
did you want to drop it over to us and we share it with the audience? So how do we want to do this? Or you can attach
Yeah.
it as a reply. Okay, to your,
Yeah. Okay.
because
So
I
if
think LinkedIn Live we're gonna have comments or commentary where you can actually drop it either way. Yeah, whatever.
yeah, so if you go to clay.stackandscale.ai and you scroll down
Yeah,
here, these two templates are included here. And you can and there's a full video walkthrough similar to what we just did for the other templates.
yeah,
You just
right.
click on these, and then if you're not a Clay user, you want 3,000 free credits and you want to go try out Clay, you can click this down here.
Yeah,
But yeah, everything is clay.stackandscale.ai.
got
Everything that
it.
we talked about today and more.
Got it. And I know we have a whole other topic, but we'll do it in another session, which I know you're doing a whole lot of stuff with Claude and
Yes.
Claude CLI, Claude MCP, Claude, a different approach rather than Clay. But yeah, that's for another day.
Yeah. I'm more than happy to come back and show you how I'm basically running the Clay or Claude is my virtual CMO and chief of staff. So I run everything now out of Claude. So
Got it. Got it. And Brandon, how
great.
can people get in touch with you? This sounds right. This is the right to
Yes,
contact
yeah,
information.
LinkedIn's the best place. And the only thing I'll say is if you want to reach out on LinkedIn, just in the message, in your outreach message, say, hey, I saw you on the live stream today.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thanks for joining today, Brandon. Great session, and we'll be in touch. Bye.